Salutations everybody, it's Matty here, and you may have clicked on this video just to argue with me, which I totally understand because today's video is bold, if I do say so myself. Now, ladies and gentlemen, up front, I just want to say no one's choice here is wrong. Fallout New Vegas is one of the very rare games of all time that has multiple pieces of DLC, and all of them are excellent. Honest Hearts presents Joshua Graham, a very compelling character that helps flesh out Caesar's Legion even more. Old World Blues is not only hilarious, but more Fallout New Vegas. Tons of places to explore, items to acquire, and quests to complete. Lonesome Road manages to add a backstory to the courier in such an elegant fashion that it doesn't strip away any of your ability to roleplay. And in this video, I hope to present why Dead Money is a candidate for the best despite all of the slander it does receive. But I do want to make sure people understand one thing. My goal here is to get folks to maybe respect Dead Money a little bit more. If you don't like it, that's it. That's your opinion. I'm not trying to change it. I'm not trying to tell you, hey, if you like Old World Blues, you should like it less and you should like Dead Money more. Now, normally I despise games that strip away your progress in the middle of the playthrough. I'm looking at you, Deus Ex, Human Revolution, Director's Cut, you and your stupid boat mission that completely level 1s your character. That is awful. It is one of the worst game mechanics. But why does it work so well for that small period of time in Dead Money? Dead Money is the only DLC in Fallout New Vegas that truly forces you to play the game differently. All of your equipment's gone, you're forced to start from scratch. You have absolutely nothing when things start off. Furthermore, you're carefully crawling around the Sierra Madre checking for radios, alarms to disable, otherwise your collar is going to blow up. Furthermore, scattered about these levels are the Sierra Madre chips, which you can now use to spend on vending machines, which can give you precious healing items. Also, you'll find notes scattered about the Sierra Madre that'll allow you to earn more items from said vending machine. Now, it's no secret, right? I've done a lot of Fallout videos, just like a little bit, right? There's a tiny bit. I've been around here for a while. I've played a ton of Fallout New Vegas. So for me, I have a higher appreciation for a DLC that sort of breaks the mold and says, you are going to play this game differently. I know a lot of folks don't like the save scumming that you've got to do in Dead Money, the constant back and forth through the doorway, trying to find where exactly the alarms are so you can shoot them. But for me personally, I like that challenge. I like that the game actually challenges me to pay attention to my surroundings, to be very much aware of what's going on, and just making me play it overall differently. Now suddenly, if I find a pack of cigarettes or a carton of cigarettes, or as you get more of those vending machine items, I could turn in springware, say, and you get more Sierra Madre chips. So not only does it actually manage to make you play differently, but you also view items in the open world differently as well, because now they have this transformed value, so you start looking for different things. Now finding a box of dandy apples is a really big deal because you can heal yourself with that, and stim packs aren't in mass supply like I think most of us who play the game usually have that situation. You know, for me, I'm usually running around with like 100, 200 stim packs by like the mid game of Fallout New Vegas. Removing all of that and saying, hey, you're not as spoiled as you once thought you were. To me, that feels good. I also appreciate the inspiration taken from BioShock 1 that's clear as day, from the art to the actual structure of the narrative. Now, BioShock 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not going to make that a secret, so maybe there's a little bias here, but it's clear that there is a connection that can be drawn. Narratively speaking, like I said, you have your orders being barked to you over the radio, and the location you're at, the Sierra Madre, was in a sense a utopia, or at least it was supposed to be before it crumbled due to the Great War. That, alongside the theme of greed it is built off of and how it connects to the player, all works together magically. You heard of this treasure, right? Like many of us have in RPGs before. You go for the treasure. You're caught in Elijah's trap of rotating scouts to get to the vault so he can secure his loot safely and then start a new world. And when you finally do get down there, you're intentionally limited by design to not be able to grab all of the amazing and expensive items. I know, there's glitches. I get it, but I'm talking about Obsidian. You know, they're in their little bubble making this game what they were thinking. At least I imagine what they were thinking when they put this together. They didn't want you to grab all 80 gold bars and have like a million inventory space and somehow glitch your way out of there, okay? I doubt they thought of that. or exploits. I get it. But point being is the idea was more so that your greed drove you to this place. You overcame all these obstacles, all these odds that were, albeit at some points, annoying, right? The hologram security, the alarms blowing your head off. There's so much there that frustrates you because you're being killed by all these invisible things that you really can't do much about. And once you finally get there after all this adversity, right, you're like, give me the loot. And you can't take really all of it like you normally would in any other RPG. So all of those weapons, all of that ammunition, especially if you're playing on hardcore, the healing items that you could possibly carry with you, you have to leave a lot of that behind by choice. And the greed could carry into the lore of the Sierra Madre and how it was built. Sinclair thought he could lure Vera Keyes into falling in love with him by gifting her this grand casino with all she could desire. Yet she was in the process of teaming up with Dean to rob the place blind. Despite that, Sinclair attempts to protect her by creating the vault beneath the casino. And depending on your choices, this was the case in my latest playthrough, everyone is dead. No one won because they all let their desires get the best of them and cloud their thinking. The Sierra Madre Casino itself is fascinating. Obsidian actually managed to create a part of the world that so perfectly fit the theme of gambling that the game does bolster right at the start. It's also as equally as believable to be a fortress of some kind that you could set the stage for a new world. From the holograms to the collars to the vending machines, you can understand Elijah's vision even if you don't agree with it. To me, that's what makes a very compelling villain. I don't really need to like you or be like, oh, you stink. I think the best villains are the ones you understand most. You can sympathize with them even if they're warped. And clearly Elijah was warped by, you guessed it, greed, desires, failures, and trying to act like he's seeing clearly now all of a sudden. And to me, understanding that, the way it's delivered to the player through all of the conversations that you have over the intercoms, I think personally led to this being a lot more compelling than I had initially expected when I first started this DLC many years ago. And due to that narrative structure, I still think to this day it holds up pretty well. Furthermore, it's not just Elijah, but also the cast of companions that you're going to encounter that you'll also need in order to complete this big operation, such as Dog/God, who presents a very unique duality within the game, balancing two different personalities within the same super mutant. Dean Domino, who has concealed intentions. Christine, who's more important than you'd expect, but also brings about a unique way of interacting with a character given the status of her vocal cords until later, of course, in the DLC. Now, maybe it's because I'm like a die-hard Persona fan, but for me, themes are everything, right? So, for example, Dog being trapped in a prison cell right in the beginning. That's your first encounter with Dog. And when you speak with him, it's actually God instead. And he's the one owning over the dog. And there's just this chain of all these things that start to connect in your head between the cage, the trapped dog, freeing the dog. He's a beast now. He's killing all of these different harvesters that are now exploding into bits. Like, there's just so many ways it all connects. And last but not least, Christine's conversation where she starts to indicate things about the courier who's going to be getting in touch with you when it comes to a little bit of Lonesome Road. All of the teases with the big empty, setting the stage for something even more potentially interesting for the player, and seeing where a lot of this technology that built the Sierra Madre actually came from, I think also makes it better when you look at it as a full picture. Now, I totally understand the idea if you were in 2011, waiting for your Fallout New Vegas DLC, and there it is, the Sierra Madre, and you're just like, man, this was really disappointing. I understand as a standalone experience, but New Vegas has been around for a decade at this point in time, and I think personally that this is something that really helps the package at this point in time. I think that as we get deeper into the game, it just gets better because you always have those experiences in the open world in the base game, in the big empty, in Lonesome Road, in Honest Hearts, where it's open, you're fighting lots of enemies, loot, yay, conversations, but Dead Money's the only one that challenges you to think differently, play differently. It's built off a lot of themes that connect to the core game. Not that the others don't, but ultimately, I think Dead Money is the best New Vegas DLC because of this. It's certainly the most unique, and I know for a lot of people you can still admit it's unique without it being your favorite, but for me, it just feels so different and so enjoyable, and because of that, it is at the top for me. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who stand there with me, but I imagine most of you disagree with me, and that's totally fine, right? At the end of the day, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just hoping I could, in this video, paint a picture of why Dead Money, I think, personally, is so great. So, I leave you with my scorching hot take. Let me know what you're thinking about it in the comments down below. I'm sure the comment section, when I check this video out, will be very interesting. I'm very much looking forward to that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what your favorite New Vegas DLC is and what you personally think of my take here. So fire away. I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all of the patrons and members who continue to join our team here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.